Have you ever felt like someone was deliberately pitting you against another person? Maybe a partner constantly compared you to an ex. A boss played employees against each other. Or a family member made you feel like you had to compete for their approval. If so, you were likely a victim of triangulation, one of the most deceptive and destructive manipulation tactics used to create conflict, insecurity, and control. Triangulation is not just an occasional misunderstanding. It is a calculated strategy that manipulators use to divide and conquer. It keeps people off balance, fosters resentment, and makes the manipulator the center of power. But why does it work so well? How do narcissists, toxic leaders, and abusers use it to control their victims? And most importantly, how can you protect yourself from it? Let's break down how triangulation works, look at real-life examples, and uncover ways to fight back against this toxic game. Triangulation is a form of psychological manipulation where a third person is introduced into a dynamic, often unnecessarily, to create competition, jealousy, or conflict between two people. The manipulator controls the narrative, shifting attention and power to themselves, while the other two individuals become distracted by their emotional reactions. It's called triangulation, because instead of direct communication between two people, a third party is inserted into the equation, distorting reality. This technique is commonly used in romantic relationships, creating jealousy, insecurity, or emotional instability. Workplace dynamics, turning employees or colleagues against each other. Friendships and social circles, spreading rumors and controlling group dynamics. Family systems, siblings, parents, or relatives competing for approval. Triangulation works because it creates a power imbalance, forcing people to seek validation from the manipulator instead of confronting the real issue. Now, let's explore real-world examples of how this technique plays out. Imagine you're in a relationship, and your partner constantly brings up an ex-partner in conversations. At first it seems harmless. They make comments like, "You remind me so much of my ex. They were so good at understanding me." Or they might do the opposite. "My ex never did this. They always supported me more." At first, you brush it off, but over time the comparisons make you feel insecure. You start wondering if you need to change to earn their approval. The more they talk about this third person, the more you feel like you're in an unspoken competition. But here's the real trick. It's never about the ex. It's about control. By making you feel replaceable, your partner gains power over your emotions. You might work harder to seek their validation, overcompensate in the relationship, or start acting out of jealousy, all while they sit back and enjoy the emotional chaos they created. And if you ever confront them about it, they gaslight you. "You're overreacting. I can talk about my past if I want." This is classic relationship triangulation, and it's designed to make you feel off balance, never fully secure. Triangulation isn't just for relationships. It's also rampant in toxic workplaces. Imagine you work in an office where your boss plays employees against each other. One day they tell you, "I'm really disappointed in Sarah's work lately. I trust you more with this project." You feel a mix of pride and discomfort. Why are they telling you this? Later, you hear from Sarah that the boss said the exact opposite to her. Now, you and Sarah distrust each other. Instead of working as a team, you're competing for favor, always wondering what the boss is saying behind closed doors. Meanwhile, the boss enjoys the power of controlling both of you, keeping the workplace in a constant state of tension. This kind of manipulation is used to create rivalry instead of collaboration, keep employees on edge so they never feel safe, maintain total control by keeping the truth hidden. And the worst part? The boss never takes responsibility. If you confront them, they'll deny it, claiming they never said anything or that it was misunderstood. Families are one of the most common breeding grounds for triangulation. A toxic parent might say to one child, "Your brother is always more responsible than you. Maybe you should learn from him." Meanwhile, they tell the sibling, "You should watch out for your brother. He's always making mistakes." The result? The siblings resent each other instead of seeing the real problem, the parent creating the division. This dynamic is often seen in families where a narcissistic parent needs to control their children by keeping them divided, insecure, and seeking approval. Why do manipulators use triangulation? Triangulation serves a clear purpose: to maintain power. People who use it often have narcissistic tendencies, enjoy controlling others, and thrive on the emotional turmoil they create. Here's why they do it. They crave attention. Being in the center of a conflict gives them control. They avoid accountability. By pitting people against each other, they escape blame. They create dependency. If you're too busy fighting with someone else, you won't question the manipulator's motives. They intentionally create confusion, stress, and emotional instability, keeping their victims trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and competition. How to protect yourself from triangulation? If you suspect someone is using triangulation against you, here's how to break free. First, recognize the manipulation. The moment you see someone inserting a third person into your relationship, question why. Second, communicate directly. Instead of going through the manipulator, talk directly to the other person involved. Most triangulation falls apart when people compare stories. Third, refuse to engage. If someone tries to bait you into conflict, don't play their game. Say, "I prefer to talk directly with the person involved." Fourth, set boundaries. If a person consistently tries to create division, limit your exposure to them. Fifth, validate your reality. Manipulators will try to twist facts. Trust your own instincts. The key to stopping triangulation is awareness. The sooner you recognize it, the less power it has over you. Triangulation is one of the most toxic and subtle manipulation techniques used to divide people and create unnecessary conflict. Whether in relationships, workplaces, or families, it thrives on insecurity and deception. But once you see it for what it is, you can break free. You don't have to be a pawn in someone else's game. You can choose clarity, direct communication, and emotional independence. Now let me ask you, have you ever been a target of triangulation? What happened? Share your experience in the comments.